Welcome home, Pops.
While I was away, came up with a plan that's gonna make our family the toast of Chatsworth.
A drill.
It self-sharpens as it works.
You need to call it the Bit Magician.
I like that. I'm not doing smash and grabs anymore. I'm on the righteous path.
A what? Dad can make something out of nothing.
He made the best sandwiches out of government cheese and white bread.
All that poison food is probably what made him a criminal.
This invention is my family's future. What's wrong with him?
You would know if you'd been around.
Do you know the Prevost brothers?
I owe the Prevost brothers?
I think you have a date.
Are you in trouble?
Oh, you need money?
Yes. It's best to deal with situations in a timely fashion.
I'm short on time.
Time? It's an illusion. There is no past, there is no present, there is no future. It's all happening right now, so slow down.
I know this is hard, but I'm here trying to make things right.
Too late.
It's never too late. We're a family.
Owls are a bad omen. It's warning you.
I don't have the money.
Oh, Pops. Stickman said if you come to a crossroads, always go towards the sun. It will lead you to its treasure.
Thanks, son.
I can fix you.
I don't need fixing.
Oh, you do.
You get to choose how you proceed next.
Dreamers are dangerous.
Then consider me dangerous.
Hi, good evening. Carolyn for Carolyn Talks YouTube and podcast channel. Thank you for joining us today. This film is very offbeat and is very left off center, as you would say. You said it's very quirky, but even with all of the things that is unpredictable about it, there is something that is consistent, that is something that we've seen time in memoriam, I guess you could say, is women expecting to put their lives on hold for men. And the thing that I think, and it doesn't have to only do with whether the father's away, he's incarcerated as Hampton is, or if he's away out doing a job or traveling constantly. There's men who are who are in the house who are still absent and expect women to hold space for them in their homes. But something that I love about Astoria is that she doesn't immediately give in to Hampton when he comes back. She doesn't give him space. She's like, if you want space, you're going to have to earn it back. You know, and I love that she does that. And she does it from the onset, from the moment we meet her. She's like, yeah, you know, I'm not going to step aside so you can find your way in your pocket again. So I want you both to talk about the expectation that Hampton has of Astoria and the boys giving him space that he didn't fill for a number of years, and Astoria making sure that she didn't give him that space, that she was like, you have to earn your way back, not only in the family, but also back in my good graces, because he betrayed her and he betrayed their family. He betrayed her trust. And she's like, I'm not giving you space. I'm not giving you trust. I'm not giving you time. I'm not giving you effort. And I love that about her. So talk to me about that. Simone, you can go first.
I think at the heart of this, Astoria is a woman who loves fiercely. She loves Hampton. He is the love of her life, her childhood love, and yet the disappointment of him not living up to his own potential is heartbreaking for her. And so where it looks like to, you know, the viewer that she's keeping him at a distance to make him prove himself to her, there's also the desire that she has for him to become the man that she knows that he can be, the father that he can be, the husband that he could be, the partner. I think she's also made the decision to pursue her own dreams because, like you said, so often women do put their lives on hold and they put themselves second to family and to children. And that is something that I think Astoria realizes she doesn't service anyone by doing. And so although it feels very much like you have to prove yourself and you're not stepping back into these old shoes, all of which are true because she has moved on in some ways. The other part of it is her challenging him to make good on what it is that he always said he wants to do and the vision that he has for the family and for himself. He got them this amazing house that, he won in a card game. He got them this home and then he's not there to help take care of it. And so there's that balance, that push-pull of him wanting these things for his family and not knowing how to execute them, and her wanting these things and seeing it and wanting him to do right. And so that, I think, is the lovely balance that we get to see play out over the course of the series.
And I think the thing with Hampton is he has that very male trait of wanting to do, but not being very good at listening. And so he comes out of prison, and there's actually something admirable about the fact that I want to do something for my family. I've caused pain. I've not been a good father. I've not been a good husband, but I'm going to do something about it. And that completely leapfrogs over the fact that you need to come and find out who your family now is. They have moved on emotionally, they have moved on literally, spiritually, and there is no attempt by him to get up to speed. And as I say, that's a fairly male trait, but it's one that is in a fairly toxic way demonstrated in Hampton. And that is the process that we see him going through over the 10 episodes. Is he going to listen to God? Is he going to listen to Astoria? Is he going to listen to his better instincts as opposed to his more base instincts? And that, as I say, is where a lot of the drama, a lot of the tension comes from, going back to an old way of thinking that was tied to criminality, or a new way of thinking that is tied to spirituality and connection with his family. And I think that's a fairly relatable thing, especially as a man, unfortunately. And it's also where a lot of the drama and the tension in the show comes from.
So I'm kind of going to go off of Rose's question and your answers, and the topic of biblical parables and motifs. So something else that's very common in the Bible is the discussion of gifts, using your gifts, using your talents. There's a parable of the 10 talents, and something that I really like about this show is that all of the characters have talents. And whether they're obvious or not, they do have a very specific talent. For our story, it would be easy to say that her talent is she's an amazing artist. She wants to be a designer, but her sketches are stunning. But she also has a talent for music, and it's hinted at in just one episode where we get to see her play a violin, my favorite instrument that I used to play as a kid. But then there's Einstein, who's a genius, but he's also interested in athleticism and in filmmaking. He has all these sides to him. And then there's Harrison. He's a bit of an enigma. We don't really know what his talent is, but I think his talent is empathy, and he observes and he listens to people, and he has this connection with Rudy, someone that Hampton cherished in his time in prison. But I feel like Hampton, with all of his own talents, doesn't see the talents in the people around him, and maybe he doesn't see it until it's too late. So I want you guys to talk about the talents in this family, and Astoria sees the talents in her children. She even sees the talent in Hampton. Like one thing she doesn't do is she doesn't discourage Hampton, even when he comes back. Even with all of her anger and her frustrations at him, she doesn't tell him that he can't be an inventor. She doesn't tell him that he can't get this thing done. But he doesn't see the talents in the people around him, including Rudy and including the character played by Bokeem Woodbine. So when you guys are talking about talent and in seeing people's talent and in recognizing talent.
I think the reason why Hampton can't see the abilities and the gifts of those around him is because he's quite selfish. He's quite self-involved. And that is the journey he's on over the 10 episodes. By the time you get to the end, you see that there is a price for being that way. I'm glad to say, as a person, I'm not like that. And in fact, I was the one who I went to, because she's so brilliantly talented, such an amazing scene partner. I just couldn't believe how fortunate I was to be getting to do this with her. And so I went to her one day and I said, "Is there something that you want to do in this show that you haven't been able to do elsewhere?" And she said, "Well, I grew up playing the violin." And I went, "Okay, give me a second. And that's how it ended up in the show. But it's only today I'm finding out that it didn't quite play out as Simone had expected. But I'm very glad that the violin playing was in the show because you liked it.
I will say that David is a seeker of people's talents. He is also extremely talented. He's super funny on screen, but you've seen the dancing that we had to do, and he was like, I think we're going to do a waltz, and I was like, oh, a waltz, are we? And we had weeks of dance lessons, the two of us, and it was something that I think, although Hampton might not be able to see the talents of those around him because he is so singularly focused, because he's got this ticking clock, he owes this money. He doesn't really have time to take a step back and take everyone in because he's fighting for his life. That David is a person who seeks out the talents of others, even when the violin playing doesn't, you don't get the preparation. You used to play when you were a little girl. It takes practice. But I think that what we will see on screen is a lot of people who are extremely talented, from our producers, our writers, hair, makeup, wardrobe, costume. That wardrobe and costumes are the same. Production design, everyone brought all of what they had to this show, and it shows.
And she's great with the violin in the show.
It does show like the production crew did a fantastic job. And fun fact, I also used to do ballroom dancing as well. So that was something else I really loved as well. So I love the dancing scene. So thank you so much. Everyone did a fantastic job.
Right.
Thank you.